So tomorrow it is probably back to the random review grind of whatever Transformer I pull off the shelves, because Kamen Rider stuff is way too expensive for me to get these days. Thank you very much, Rising Yen. But until then, I have to talk something that isn't Transformer. So as long as we got one more day left in the month, we might as well pull out a Glyos recap. Now, next month is going to be pretty small, so I probably am going to hold off until probably September before we see the next one. But for now, we're going to talk about what came out in the month of June across all the Glyos companies, and there was quite a bit. But since I usually start with something when I have a custom, I'm going to show you the one I came up with most recently. Say hello to Vegetarix, the prince of all avians. This is using the Vartrix mold with the Gly armor from Onell, and you can see it actually has some very natural shapes to make that Cell Saga armor that Vegeta wears. Even the hair, or feathers I guess, kind of fit Vegeta's tall little pointy hair thing. And he's got a scouter, because of course he does. Yeah, this is probably one of the favorite ones I've ever done. This one was kind of fun to bring to life. I've already got another custom in mind, so you might see that the next time I do a recap video. But that is unofficial because it's something I painted myself. So let's get to the official releases. If you missed Glyos in the month of June 2016, this is what you missed. We're going to start quickly with the guys over at Spy Monkeys who had their second wave of Battle Tribes figures. Which for me, the winner of the entire wave was this guy, the Livid Dracon. Oh, I knew I would forget it. Oh, I was practicing it before the video. The Livid Dracosaurian, I want to say. It's a heck of a name. Heck of a figure, though. This is the first official release with that Saurian head, which is one of my favorites from this mold. And just like the others, it comes with a ton of extra heads, a ton of extra weapons. The armor is removable and all this fun stuff. And I like the purple and orange. It's a very different color scheme. Sadly, this is the only new figure from the wave I did get, because a lot of it was re-releases from Wave 1, and the other two were translucents that I don't think work as well with organic shapes. It's just a personal preference thing. So he ended up being my lone real get, aside from a unpainted, soon-to-be customized figure. But I do want to throw out, because I love my guys at Spy Monkey. They got me into Glyos in the first place, so yeah, go and take a look if you want your little tiny interchangeable part He-Man figures. They actually stocked up this time, so there's actually quite a few left if you missed out. This is why I tell people, never buy from eBay scalpers. Guys like Killer Bee Collectibles on eBay are nothing but leeches on the community that just take advantage of people who weren't lucky on drop night. Never, ever, ever, ever pay his double, triple markups on some things. Wait, and you'll have a better opportunity, and usually one provided by someone who isn't trying to just rob you blind. Okay, so there's my eBay scalper rant out of the way. Let's move on to the Onell releases. I'll start simple with the newest member of the Armorvore lineup. Translucent blue with little white highlights. It gives a very ghostly vibe. I kind of like this. It's one that, like, before you mention, no, this is clear PVC plastic. It does not have the issues that clear ABS plastic has. That always gives me so much trouble with my toys. This stuff is just like most Glyos, and it is completely unbreakable as far as I'm concerned. And I kind of like that minimum paint apps. It gives it this very ghostly aura, which is kind of cool. But they did a ton of stuff. The main color scheme this time was this kind of aquamarine and gray look. It kind of has a little bit of an alien vibe to it, and it works. This is their Noboto mold, done up as an Exile, which is something that's been running for several waves now. And this is the first time it's been offered with the Gly armor attached. And I'm amazed at the versatility of the Gly armor. You saw it attached to a Traveler figure for my Vegetarix. Here it is attached to a much smaller figure, and it still works. It still all fits. Now the torso armor does kind of float up a little bit, but that also gives it kind of a unique look compared to the others who wear it. So that actually kind of works out and gives it a unique vibe. And again, I'm amazed at the versatility of those particular parts, and it's actually quite impressive. So that was actually kind of a cool thing to see. And there was also matching figures in the standard fade-in mold, which I'm always happy to see this. Like, I'm perfectly cool with seeing just standard fade-ins without the armor, without the weapon accessories and whatever. Just plain old fade-in in neat colors. That works out from time to time. And it gives people an easy introduction and something easy to buy. And it's not a huge commitment to get into this particular realm of Glyos. There's actually another version of this thing that was still available last time I was on Onell's site that had even less paint apps and was a very standard fade-in figure. It was only like $8, which is great. It's good if you just want to kind of try it out and at least see what the original Glyos figure was like. But for me, the star of the wave was this guy. This is Viyer. Viyer was the very first Glyos figure I ever bought, as you might know from the previous Glyos recaps. The pink and purple just looked very alien to me, and I came to really like that look. And then I found out his character was very much this schemer type that I really seem to like. I like watching his machinations and all of his plans come together. This is actually a little bit darker than I thought. The original, it's too far for me to reach, but the last time Gatekeeper colors were made, the pink was much brighter than this. The purple is spot on to the original, but the pink, it's closer to the purple realm in this particular release, which is kind of a slight knock against it. I was looking forward to the bright pink, but it still works. It still definitely has the Viyer look, and it's nice to see him upgraded in the Gly armor. Very, very cool. I'm always happy to see this guy come back, and whew, that made me happy. That made me really happy when he came about. But there was one surprise in the drop that I did not expect, because they said that a figure from Outer Spacemen was going to be available, like as a crossover. Outer Spacemen was an alien toy line that was brought back using Glyos parts to work as kind of like swivel style articulation engineering. And I never like Glyos figures that just use Glyos parts to kind of make it easier to assemble a figure without having to build like universal joints or ball joints or things like that. It always just kind of feels like, well, you're missing the point of Glyos. So when they announced that, I'm like, I'm not going to want it. I don't care what they make. It's not going to interest me in any way. They went Metaluna on me. Okay, if you guys have seen my Toysember videos on the various figures of this guy, this is a weakness of mine. I love the Metaluna mutant. Very similar to the insect life on our own planet, larger, of course. Abrupt jump cut there as my throat stopped working momentarily. But, yeah, just to quickly explain, like, the original mold of this was done as an homage to the mutant, but it was never done up on those colors. I always thought for fear of copyright issue, because, man, that does come close to the old design. But Onell just went and did it up in the proper blue and the red. There's also matching Crayboth that got the same kind of color scheme, but in spite of the mold working for it, it didn't have the brain lines, and that was so upsetting to me. That's why I ended up making the Krangboth custom. It just looks better. So, Onell, of course, had a ton of variety with their release in June. And some very familiar stuff, some very new stuff, and of course, a little bit of crossover. It was a fun drop. It really was. And then, not to be outdone, the God Beast came up with a bunch of new color schemes. And man, these made me happy. First off, we have the Chytrius colors. They return. I absolutely love this. I still have this stuff like on standby, like right here. I am ready anytime to break out some more Chytrius, and this is like my favorite stuff to build with now. So, Marty, thank you, man. This is one of my favorite Glyos molds, and to see it in my favorite Glyos color scheme, that is epic. Thank you very much. Alright, Toyfinity, Spy Monkey, all the others, I'm looking at you. I'll even point to Banamon right now, and probably Colgrim. Oh, God, he's not watching. I want every Glyos mold in these colors. This is absolutely beautiful. It made me so happy to see another Glyos figure in the Ketreus green and yellow. But that's not all he did. He also did this beauty. Black and gold and beautiful. Sometimes simple is best. This one didn't need like 6-7 colors going on or anything. Just the right highlights, the right shade of gold, and he looks absolutely amazing. You'll excuse me if I can't remember. Marty gives some of these some odd names. I can't quite remember what the name of this guy is, but he looks absolutely wicked. And you'll notice, this is one of the first ones to actually feature a Kabutomushi emblem on the belly. All the big important releases in the future are going to get this sigil. So you kind of have a distinction between the ones that are like really important and like stand out some way in whatever little narrative is going on in Marty's head. But nevertheless, it gives him a little bit of, like, you know, mostly Transformer fans who follow me here, you kind of know the significance of having that little sigil, that little faction identifier thing. You know, it's a common thing in Glyos, because they all kind of spawned from 80s toy lines in one way or another, where that was always a thing. But yeah, black, gold, beautiful. Now, the thing is, this color scheme was done as an homage to Prince, the now departed, pop music icon. And Marty was an enormous fan of him and really wanted to do something to kind of tribute him. And that's in tribute to one of his albums, but in a more fitting and probably more expected tribute, this was produced. This is a Royal Mushi, and it is easily one of the prettiest Mushis one of the prettiest Glyos figures I've ever seen. It's a very vibrant shade of purple. There's a deep metallic purple as a secondary color, and the gold offsets it so well. This is absolutely awesome, and as a Purple Rain homage, even better, even better. You will notice there is a Prince tampograph on the belly. I did not ask for this. This was not how I thought it would come. I think the one on the website showed the same emblem that was on the black one. This just showed up this way, so I think Marty was having a little bit of fun with the printer on a few of these. But nevertheless, that's kind of a cool homage. That's kind of a cool little extra, so thank you, Marty, for singling out my shipment there. But this figure itself is absolutely gorgeous. I love, love, love the colors on this one. Again, I wouldn't mind seeing that two-tone metallic purple and gold on something else one day. But it is, as an homage and a tribute to the late artist, a fantastic little figure. And finally, we are going to wrap up with a release from Toyfinity, the RoboForce creators, who were also up to something completely new. John Kent, once again, rolling out his Neo Zeroids with a classic red and black color scheme. This is the Hunter Zeroid. So you have the Hunter and then the Hundred from his previous red and black releases. This is pretty much a standard Glyos color scheme. A lot of figures have been released in this standard red and black highlight figure. So he does have a lot of compatibility with older toys, and himself, I still really like this. It's a really neat little mold that's surprisingly versatile. And he even starts including like little extra switch pins and things, so you have even more customizing you can do with your designs. But that's not really the huge story from Toyfinity. No, they had something else in mind. There's another particular figure that they had the rights to, and wanted to create something completely new for it. So, behold, the Darkness Warrior. As the group shot in the back is starting to make my autofocus a little bit crazy. So, this is kind of an interesting figure. Now, you can see he's using the Gly armor design, so he does have a lot of extra bulk and components to him, and the toy itself on the inside is pretty much your standard Glyan, like your standard soldier figure. I don't actually have an example of handy here, unfortunately. I've shown them off in past videos. They're pretty simple soldier-style toys. What's interesting here is that he's actually, since the Gly armor replaces the upper arms, he's taken all the parts from the upper arms, aside from the shoulders, and added them to the legs, which gives him this really, really tall profile. And then, of course, you have a completely new head sculpt. It's a little bit of a strange one with the eyes sunken in and then all the white painted around them. It took me a while to kind of get used to the overall look of this guy and not see just some weird guy with a mega huge, like, Snidely Whiplash mustache going on. But it's definitely a unique head, and the dark and kind of a fitting tribute to the original Darkness Warriors. And I'm not up on my old toys the way John is, so he might have to go to the website and fill in a few blanks about the origins of this guy, because John puts a lot of thought into some of his stuff, and there is quite a backstory to why he ended up creating this. But I do think it's a really clever use of the Glyon and the actual Gly armor to create this figure who's technically just a Glyon with a new head and some armor, but it also creates this unique silhouette just with some very simple part rearrangement. I will also mention that just for the sake of mentioning it, he does not include any of the extra heads, which I thought would have been funny. But it's kind of interesting, because I always thought, the Gly armor included the molds for the two extra heads, the Neo-Sarbos, that head, and the one you saw on the Vegetorix. But I guess not. Interesting. But either way, that was a surprise for him to come out with something that wasn't exactly your standard big blocky robot. And that, my friends, is Glyos in the world of... well, that's the world of Glyos in the month of June 2016. There's other releases, there are other companies that were busy, but I can't buy from everybody. Now, can I? I do know there is some incredible stuff on the way. Onell had its 9th anniversary drop just a few days ago, so that's going to be fun to look at. Banamon had a new drop that I couldn't buy anything from, because, I've tried to keep my spending super limited in July for MetroCon. So yeah, we're probably going to roll a couple of months worth of Glyos together when next we see a Glyos recap. But until then, my friends, this has been another look at the world of independent toys and these bizarre little interchangeable part figures that still kind of impress me with how much they are able to do.